Right, there we are. Hello, hi Core, how you doing? Sorry about that. Oh, I had a phone call just as I was about to go live. Hey, NGMO, how you doing? Right, we continue upon the quest at the moment, and not the Jean-Claude Van Damme film. We are in the process of attempting to get to 250 on Soviets, and in the interests of achieving this, we've been using Red Sun's deck, and we were briefly back in the top 1000. In fact, we were briefly back in the top 300. But then I was testing some other decks, and so we're not anymore. But we're chilling, because as you all know by now, I am not in a competitive mode at the moment, so it should be all good. But we are going to continue on our quest through the current meta to see whether a little bit of just aggro can get us anywhere. It's been doing okay. So probably commandos. It is entirely possible it's something a little bit more controlly. But mostly. Just going to go face and see, because this is almost certainly the commandos. It is to be expected, and not a terrible matchup for it, purely and entirely because we go quite fast. Yeah, I was doing the last time I saw them. Yeah, that's probably accurate for this season. If you're trying to get any kind of effect out of your season, generally you will attempt to play a single deck. But Rush, surprisingly useful. Commandos. Back down. Draw. Hey, triple F. I can neither confirm nor deny your assertion that commandos may not be as statistically good as people think it is. That sounds diplomatic, right? But I've been on record myself as saying I don't think commandos is a good consistent deck at all. I think it's just a very popular. Right, they can high roll you like no one's business, but that's just a function of there being credit cheat in the game. And order spam. Which at some point will stop. Not for a while, though. Yeah, unless you absolutely stall out, I largely agree. Like, the biggest issue is that if they can just get to a late enough turn with enough credit slots and draw cards, they can be a problem. However, such a shame we couldn't quite pull it off. Okay. put stats on the board and hope we can live a turn. Always a big, like, this becomes just lottery time for whether they can proc enough lucky hits off a single commando, but without. In the front line. Done. This. All that said, it is very likely that we're going to lose this. However, we will play it the smart way, which is to not help them. Monty was the big card. Okay, so they've got raid, probably enough. Oh, I don't know, if they're drawing, it might not be. It probably. RIP. One of the things I find, I think it helps, and it's something that I have mentioned, and I do wonder whether it would be, is I think it helps that I've seen win rate statistics on decks. I think that honestly helps a lot with not getting tilted, because I know actual high roll when I come into actual high roll. Ultimately, that's going to be the casino version of Commandos at the moment, is what you are just banking that you can roll high enough with your draws with the available bits, and I think that it's going to continue to be pervasive because, let's be honest, lots of people enjoy kind of gambly / high roll playstyle. They just do. That's better. Kind of you. I think we probably open here and see if we can, because it is possible that we're going to get very quickly routed. One of the things that I've gotten into the habit of doing lately is sort of a route counter. By in the form of, in my case, just a dice. Track the number of them that have come out to time certain plays, because route is one of those cards that, generally speaking, if you see it, they're running for, because they're banking on the fact that it'll early advantage. The downside is that if they don't find it, you can get run pretty quickly. Yeah, okay, so this is a German ramp deck that's having a bad day. You may think I'm insane, but you'd be surprised how often a single point of damage actually matter in. But we are playing ultimately a quite relaxing aggro deck. So on the plus side, it's a good time to ask me questions and chat to me, because this is a very chill deck to play. If you're looking for a deck to relax, play, if you're feeling particularly, which I am at the minute. This is the first day we've had for a while with anything approaching a reasonable temperature and humidity levels. That for the past couple of weeks, I have felt truly, truly awful. Basically, all the time. To be fair, most of the time they have it when I play them too. I was surprised. They almost always get crossfire by turn 4 when I'm playing them, or route for the first two. But crossfire is, I think, occasionally a lot of what happens to us when it comes to things like crossfire is just the human habit of remembering the negative experiences far more accurately than we do the positive. They did some really interesting studies in which they did some random generation type gambling, where you did something and every time something came up, something positive happened, and something negative could happen if it didn't. And it's remarkable, but unsurprising. Pain in the backside, but do. The number of people who, when asked about it, yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm normally in my earlier life, I wasn't too worried by hot temperatures, but when you get periods of paralysis every, hot temperatures are frankly virulently unfun. Because you're just constantly tired, so dehydrated anyway. But positive thoughts. Come Thursday this week, we have a nice person coming around to quote fitting air conditioning to my house, and after I feel you. And then we just have to hate push like that, but I don't want to. Then we just have to hope that we can find the funding for said air conditioning. Unsurprisingly, as global warming does its thing, air conditioning is becoming much, much more common here in the UK. It's much more in demand now than it has been in a very long time. Oh, thank the Lord! Finally, we can start actually doing things. To the draw. So we rush. The extra damage. Get the regardless. Hey, Sonny, it's your deck that we're playing. Buzz has been helping me on my quest. So I was talking to one of my care team, who shall remain nameless, but he was born and raised in Nigeria, and we were chatting about this exact thing. He's interestingly, climate-wise, at least general temperature and levels of rain, although it comes in different formats-wise, Nigeria and the UK aren't that different. But in Nigeria, the vast majority of homes have air conditioning but not central heating. And a big part of that is that they are more used to hot seasons. So here in the UK, we're starting to realise that that temperature is coming slightly closer to that point where you get the break point. But it's always been seen in the UK as kind of wasteful and overpriced because we don't get hot enough days to justify it. And board, which is one of the reasons that we don't, because obviously I have many American friends. Yeah, air conditioning is a thing. Excellent. Yeah, it is a global warming thing. We also very rarely, like when I was growing up in the age of the dinosaur, um, it was extremely uncommon. High roll, give me the high roll. Um, it was extremely uncommon to get a hot day in the summer that went above maybe 27, 28 degrees. Nowadays, we're seeing multiple periods of 29 to 30 degrees a year, and we're not set up for it. Bizarrely, we also use a different formulation of tarmac for the roads, which is going to have to be reconsidered in the coming decades. Because it's not designed to... Excellent! Because it's not designed to deal with that level of temperature. So it is beginning to come in, and I hope to be at the front end of it. Because, yeah, I mean, everyone I know in the States has air conditioning and thing. Yeah, roads cracking, melting, there's issues with that. Although, interestingly, if you really want to be proof against that, just go to Canada and use their tarmac, because it has to be just about unbreakable. But yeah, the roads breaking is not fun. I mean, I have the advantage that I can no longer drive, so it is less likely to negatively affect me. Um, oh, yeah, I can feel you. I know a few people out in the Midwest who have said the same thing. Big temperature variation is it's not fun. Uh, cool. I mean, when you have extreme temperatures, it's really hard to keep quality roads. That advert, I have to say, I saw you on that one. That had to be painful. Like, extreme temperatures will definitely test you. Is this going to be some kind of ludicrous OTK thing? Point the damage. I'd rather be ready for. Okay. Feel vindicated. So this. Because we can do this and this. But yeah, it looks like it is just very greed heavy ramp, which is valid at the moment. Go long enough, you're in a good position. Although I see a lot more of it being kind of GUS. Heavy kind of ramp, the hope of winning off a big tank. This is substantially less than. So, run the SU. Yeah, I think we run the SU and just leave them a really terrible trade. The downside is we do start the. I have seen one version of this which tries to use 1, 2, 3s, and the infantry that we just blew up, in an attempt to just print all of the retribution that ever there was. He's just pressure. Not going to get any draw off it, but we can drop it for pressure, and we've still got a spare one in hand. Unless they've got a lot of blitz, we'll probably answer. I mean, just as you call it into being there, Core. I'm blaming you. That one is officially just going to be marked up as a loss based on Core calling it. To be fair, I did call this part. So yeah, this is what I've seen. The attempt to create, in effect, infinite retributions. Which, of course, terrifyingly, does work. You're now just going to print retributions to cards to bring out more 1-3s, print more retribution cards. Ironically, it'll probably work. If they can find some draw. Or just develop 2. Watch it be 2 copies of Develop 2 Retro. Fair. Bad Commandos pick at all. Ironically, we pretty much are going to lose this unless we find some people. I will admit, I was surprised. Yes, it is a fun deck to play. It is a terrible deck for the game. It is a terrible deck to play into, and may it never come back. But it is a fun deck to play, because it does feel tremendously powerful. I'm surprised it's taken this long for anyone to start doing this retribution thing, because it's remarkably effective. Let's see if we have any good grace left in us. Something nice. Throw out a win. Or blow up your own card like a complete tool because you want to keep going off. There are 2 different ways you can approach life. One of them I recommend, the other I really don't. Oh, it can't. I have absolutely... It also can't beat Germany burn. German naval burn destroys it. I have not lost into it on anything other than aggro decks. And clowning around on some of my weird options. It is legitimately... It's interesting, but it's legitimately not good. It's just a chance to have that infinite printing feeling. I think it depends on your point of view, doesn't it? I mean, it could be good because you enjoy it and you can get there. I'm not, as all of you know, I'm not a big fan of that being the only thing that we talk about, because most of us aren't playing at that level. Majority of us are not playing at that level, so it becomes less relevant. But yeah, it's ooh, I'll do this, right? Big Cossack. But yeah, I don't think it's a healthy way to look at meta. I also think there are a number of decks that people think are tier 1, which aren't. This? Yeah, I tend to agree. I think they're often... I think you and I are very similar in the way that we feel about playing decks. I tend to do it. Do it. Not that way, because I miscounted. But yeah, I think having a deck that is not top meta plays well and can get you some when you feel like it, unless you're wanting to compete. Like, as I illustrated earlier this season, if you want to compete, you absolutely can, and the primary way that you will do so is by willing to just grind like a crazy person. That is the way that stay. You grind like a crazy person on whatever the best deck that you on at a time is, and you literally don't play anything else. Is that interesting? I would argue no. That was perfect for us. This is happening. This is happening. This is question. Am I dropping in it? I think I am, just pressure. We're kind of all in at this point anyway. I think that's probably, I mean, I don't know whether quite 6 hours a day, but I think it's probably quite close. You're not wrong in that it's something that many of us decide we just don't want to do. Like, I'm quite like, the only time I play cards for the length of time that I'm playing this evening, going to NGMO's comment, is if I am I'll get back to it in a second. I'm counting. Making sure have the full damage. Hey, Karen Ram. No, so yeah, I think one of the issues is that you have to be. It's one of the reasons I don't do. I'm not that dedicated. This is the only time. Twice a week, I allow myself to sit and just play cards for the rest of the time. It's something I do in my spare time, or for example, if I'm going to be recording a specific video or looking for a specific thing. Really interested to see how our opponent's going to do this. I don't think have. Oh, you don't. But this is the only time that I will. And honestly, chatting with you guys is what makes that interesting and tolerable. I totally and utterly use this as, I mean, the most of the time for like my field marshal runs and stuff like that, they're done while I'm doing other stuff. Like earlier on today, I got quite a few games in, but they were between periods of writing. So I'm in the process of writing a tabletop RPG at the minute. That involves lots of maths and thinking and design process, which means that I occasionally breaks. Well, I say occasionally. I enforcedly need breaks because otherwise your mind blocks and you don't write very well, and there's the whole logic. But what I will use something like cards for is to just tune out, play something that I know I enjoy, and then go back to what I'm working on. Or I will play on my phone if I'm hanging out bath, like watching something else on YouTube or Twitch, catching up with people. I'll idly play something casual, which is why my win rate isn't particularly high. Every now and then, like I did at the start of the season, we'll do the thing where I decide I'm going to find out if I still can tune my head in enough to play well. Discover that I can, so far anyway, every time, and then get incredibly bored and stop bothering. Like legitimately, as much as it was fun at the beginning of the season to prove that Britair could be played at tier 1 and played quite well, and that I could sit quite comfortably in the upper ends of ladder. Good lord, I'm kind of glad that that stopped being a thing. Right, enough of that nonsense. I was quite glad to step away from it because I realised there was no value proposition in it. Huh. No. Just no. Sure. Um, um, but yeah, I learned that I don't have the patience for it anymore. This is fascinating. Not quite sure what it is, but it's fascinating. Mono Sove counter offensive with hopes and dreams. Nothing wrong with that. I was playing Mono Germany. Don't like guns. Not allowed those. I was just curious because I have been, for other reasons, in discussion about the state of German cards. Yes, it would appear that I cannot find any of the 4 attack tanks, which I assure you are in my deck. Hey, Rodrigo. It would appear that none of them actually wished to come to the battle. I assume they're broken down somewhere back there. I imagine there are some engineers working very, very hard at the moment. There you are! Earth-shatteringly late, but there you are. It's maths. It happens. At this point, they have some more removal. Or pin. Pin would do the same job. Oh, it's a perfect storm. Oh. Earth. Oh, yeah. Oh, I just seeing where it goes, but we done. Wow. Please remind me. Yes, I'd love to. And oh, Triple F, excellent. Yes, sort out. I was. Oh, you just hovering on the trigger finger. Yes, I'm up for friendlies. Oh dear. All right. Not normally make the effort. In your case, I will make a special exception. Usual levels of tolerance. And remind you that if you want to play with your food, you'd better be very sure of yourself. Especially if I'm your food. You really should have won by now. Trying to think which one you mean. I low key would be. Yes, that it is very very strong. Okay. I low key would be so happy if we could pull this out. I don't think we will, but I would be so happy if we did. And yes, Triple F, I'll get you queued up, and then GMO, I'll get you queued up afterwards. You're on my list of people who. Oh, you are. I also. Oh no, I did your 5-game test. I'm looking at my list. I've still got Zia and Daz. 15th motors into burning poses. Hey, you spend every credit for this. 15th motors is the guard, yeah. I couldn't remember the name of it to save my life, but yes. Sadly not. I have not been reloaded yet. There is some internal workings to be sorted out with giveaways. That means, unfortunately, at the minute, no giveaway. I mean, I'm quite happy to make you waste your time. Could have won this turn. I'd be deeply amused if you ended up losing it. Although, mathematically, I think we are now done. Which honestly is a shame. Right. We've seen. What I'm finding out here, because I'm chatting to you guys. By the way, you should have surrendered by now if this tilts you. Just give up and move on. I'm testing a theory here. I'm curious as to just how much of a word that I won't say on stream this person intends to be, it would appear that the answer is a fairly colossal one. Enjoy my hand of sabotage. Enjoy your sabotage pickings. They are legitimately. I might be, and I don't often. This is the definition of the person you don't want to be. Anyway, friendlies. Right, let's. Since you redeemed points for the privilege, let's get triple F off. Triple F up. Now I need me. Nothing to report him for, Rodrigo. Because the only reason this happened is that I didn't surrender, which I have the ability to do. I actually will defend the method there. He is just playing the game within the rules, and he's not actually roping. He's not doing anything that violates the terms and conditions or play of the game. Yeah, it's being a complete is not actually in any way, shape, or form a violation of the terms and conditions of the game. What is a violation of the terms and conditions of the game is deliberately lengthening turns, going offline and back on again to tilt your opponent off time. But the rules don't cover just not wanting to press the I've won button. You. As good as I've been able to get it, and it's not great. But it is. Has its moments. I think it's a mechanic that I'd like to see. Yeah, we all have those days. I've had quite a lot of them. Not been feeling great. I've been having to remind myself that it doesn't actually matter. Barrage. Okay. That's spicy. Shuffle, I think, is something that I would like to see next time. Next time we see a balance patch, I think I'd like to see Shuffle given a little bit of love. I can't comment because I know the answer. Obviously. I will always be honest about that. See what we get. Fair enough. But I would like to see Shuffle given a little bit more love, because I think it's right on the edge of being actually quite good, and more importantly, it's interesting. It would also be, given that they've already had qualifiers. It does happen. It would not be the first time. But the main thing is to bear in mind that, to be fair, that was not a normal balance pack. That was a very specific. Oh, I scuffed that. A little bit annoying. Oh well. But that was legitimately an emergency patch. We've not seen anything I can say, because I don't... Yeah, so it was because we saw a substantive problem in the sheer win rate. We are just digging for answers, by the way. But we had seen a genuinely problematic win rate on a deck. That was the reason that an emergency patch was considered necessary at the time. He's tremendously annoying. Till he's very not. What? Oh, flaming out. Yarkov, can't do anything about that. Fair enough. Good game. That one's on me. I can assure you it wouldn't. It would not have stayed. It would have been adjusted because the maths on the win rate would high. There is a point at which you see that a deck is genuinely... This is a bit more mid-range. There may well have been. I can't... Like, obviously, I'm relatively both new to the game and new to internal testing. So that probably is. Shuffle is just there aren't that many shuffle cards in the game right now, which is one of the reasons to keep it. Rating loss. Yeah, I think so. There was... There's definitely been more than one emergency patch in history around different times. Left on the scorecard. you can't. There are certain things that will just be there are certain win rates or issues or balances that will just necessitate an emergency patch. It's interesting to point that I can say with confidence, I've not seen that expansion. There is nothing that is good enough to do, despite, by the way, say this with all the love in the world, the truly terrible choice of recent card social media competition. There are no decks in rates like that. I think it is a weird balance point whereby you want certain things. There are certain mechanics. This is one of them. Game at them. That mean some things could arguably be genuinely problematic just because they're too easy to enable. It's one of the reasons that we saw the change to self-credit denial and one roof. Is it was just enabling too much nonsense. This deck is so much fun. Oh, it's Jet Prototype! No, he's running G. He didn't catch it earlier. He's DD Jet Prototype. Do that just... Do we just flex? Find that person? Go hard and go home. I think... Do this substantially. Sarsily. I am definitely still killing you. On 64th, though. Because I can. Yes, it's turned too late. I love that you're running Jet Prototype, though. I genuinely... I'm going to run this out. Be warned, this is not a good deck. It's interesting that I'm past the Jet Prototype meta enough that I can say that I can enjoy seeing Jet Prototype again. The PTSD has died off. The wounds do heal. It's legitimately true. The wounds were healed, and I did not believe they would be. Boys. Okay. I can respect that. I can absolutely respect that. I wondered when someone was going to say that. Yes, it is. It's one of the cards that I was most interested to see hit the board. Um, you might get to see it pull off its one trick. Not a good trick, but it is its one trick. I'm glad you approve. I think Rick? Oh, come on. That's just unfun. Wise, but unfun. Also, we couldn't have had a worse matchup. Because it legitimately doesn't matter what shell, but... Oh yeah, it is set up for just one. It was me in a cooking mood, which does happen from time to time. But in no way, shape, or form is or was it ever particularly good. I was just playing around with solution and what I could figure out. There are a few ways that I think you could ramp it up a bit more. I did think about throwing for freedom in there, but Havoc just seemed so much more fun. I think we have no chance of winning against this. Because realistically, it can put pins in most any shell and win. As Legions is definitely strong right now. I do occasionally play completely random different things just because I feel like it. While I do lots of meta deck testing and the like, I assumed so. But given that I'm quite happy to just sit here and let you dig until you find your thing. Because I'm not massively... This game was over some considerable time ago. as was this best of 3. That seems like a terrible issue. I mean, if you can't deal with having... I'm not quite sure what it is that you're looking for that is worth the squeeze, but I trust that it is. Because this is a long walk to whatever it is that you're trying to do. I have a feeling I know where you're going with this, which is a very, very long walk to a completely pointless combo. Oh, it totally does. I'm pretty certain I know precisely where we're going with this, which is winter warfare into or something similar. Sure. There you go. There's your board space. This deck can build some very big bombers. I need to add some removal to it to let it actually be able to pass out long enough, and I probably need to ramp more and get less cute with the combos in mind. But yeah. Let you carry on. Nothing else, this will get Triple F the clip that he's looking for. I don't know, we might actually see it on some videos. Almost certainly. Yeah. I mean, at this point, as long as you don't blow up my bombers, I can kill pretty much anything on the board. Because these two are an utterly ridiculous combo. Although I will not kill you. So you can't find your combo by now. Yes, that's a very, very oversized medic. A very long walk to an oversized medic. Oh dear. Non-GMO. Let me get you rigged in. You want to send me an invite? Right. Pull out some my more random. Oh, I've played this for a while. Yeah. Thanks, Coop. I always trust on you to tone police my my chat, and always rely on you. There is no one, honestly, I can say with absolute certainty, there was no one I would have greater reliance on to set the tone. What we have here is a terrible starting hand. Why we had to do that, which is very sad. I like that, though. Classics. Oh, by the way, thank you to any of you who voted in the poll on my thing. Don't, by the way, assume that the poll that I had on my Discord in any way stop stream. It doesn't. I'm just figuring out how to restructure things like my Patreon profile and stuff like that to occasionally actually maybe make some money. Because currently I have a lot of expenses. I have a lot of repainting, redecorating, and furniture about the house check. I'm not worried about Fury. This is a very slept on piece of Alpine tech because you really have to work to fit it in the deck. But it is legitimately better than you think. Did myself out of a point of damage there. It can be crazy good. I love this. But I'm here for this. I'm going to blow it up, but I'm here for it. But yeah, this is a very, very, very good unit. If you can keep it alive in Alpine, it gives you something you really need, which is any kind of speed. Alpine still isn't good because it's too expensive. Alpine needs early unit, preferably with Blitz. In my humble opinion. Yep. It doesn't have the pop damage, obviously. Good bolster. Nice. Just big rolling bodies. But yeah, it's not a terrible, terrible thing. Many things work against Alpine, it is true. Yeah, it's very rare. Most of the time, your Dornier is just going to get corrupt. It's fairly traditional. This 1-2 throws thing, when it works, it's bonkers. I can't pilot it to save my life. I've played around with it since NGMO shared it with me. It is beyond my ability to pilot well. I honestly think Savoya is an underrated card, mainly because Italy just doesn't get used in the same decks. But once this is up and running, I imagine it struggles into a lot of faster decks. But once this is up and running into anything that's not fast enough to just rip it off the board, it's pretty devastating. I do not run it. Hey, I'm glad you're here. I'm sad that you stepped away from cards, but I do understand the need to. Um, that is just a very fun deck. I love seeing that deck work. I've gotten it in the time since I played with it twice now. I feel like I kind of sort of played it, and it did okay. Still bakes my brain to get the sequencing right. If you want to write a written guide, because I really do want to. There's something about it that I very much enjoy. The synergy is very, very cool, but it just doesn't. And I have a feeling it is a interesting byproduct of my illness, of the damage to my cerebellum. So I'd be interested if I could get, the reason I say if you could write a written guide to the sequencing and play logic of it is that I want to find out whether it is about me needing to relearn the sequencing. That is, by the way, a real thing. Um, that does happen. Ugh, this is terrible. That's not a lot better. But I do genuinely have some skill and sequencing retention issues. And it just doesn't seem to line up in my head the way that I want it to. So if you ever get the chance, please do. I am glad to hear it. Just going and playing something different and enjoying it. There is no point playing something that you're not enjoying. Truly and honestly, if I wasn't... Oh dear, no. Truly and honestly, if I wasn't enjoying cards, if I have fun and have the... if I couldn't have the community and the fun to do with it, and if I wasn't still enjoying cards, I would also play something else. And I don't play as much. Oh, it's the frontal defense trick. I love it. I mean, it's hateful and horrible, and we're gonna die, but I love it. Um, yeah, I mean, kind of. It is one. It is kind of like a shell game. You're not wrong. Might be time to think about the big shuffle. The big shuffle. Little shuffle. Yes, it is. It's ludicrous. Utterly ridiculous. You need to report that. Yeah, you need to make sure you clip this and report it, which is why I'm lifting it up on the screen to show that there are no effects that would be stopping it. There aren't. You don't report via Discord, you've got to do it via email, so do it through the Cards website. For something like this, you'll need to do it through the actual report function on the website. And yes, I will also attempt to mention this the next time I'm talking to someone, because I'm very, very confused, because that unit's veteran. So now it does. But that one's only got one. That's strange. That's very, very odd. That's so confusing. So now, does Zaza get both? Yeah, it's lost somewhere in the sequencing. It's like units that were deployed before it was. We'd have to rewind and go through the whole thing. For some reason, weren't. That is very strange. Really surreal. Oh, if you're looking for this deck, I'll share it in a bit. Altitaire, that would be my deck that I was playing on ladder earlier, which is Red Sun's deck, but I'll share this one quite happily. It's me playing around with the shuffle mechanics. Might take it on ladder for a bit, see how it plays for a pace. Because shuffle is interesting. Because it has +4 from itself, and then further +2. So it's 8 base. And then it's gaining multiple procs. Because it stacks. So there are bizarre stackings going on. Maths. Not that it matters, but maths. Happy. Not concentrating. Yeah, I'm really confused. I'm actually probably going to... I have some time. Or if you do, if anyone has the time to clip this match, in its entirety, I will see if I can drop it in internal testing, get it maybe looked at a little bit more accurately. Because, yeah. Yeah, there are a couple of things that are weird and wacky. Do I know what the word wrong'un means? Yeah, so it means someone who is dubious or villainous or otherwise questionable. Sometimes, generally, it means criminal, but it can also just mean someone who's a bit dubious, as in they're a wrong'un or he's a wrong'un. So we do this, this, this. This. Yeah, basically, it's ye olde word for calling someone a bit suspect. I am dided. The only way I was not going to be dided is if we got insanely lucky. Oh, welcome. It's a proper old school word. That was fun. I got 3-0'd. That was fun. But yes. As am I, so on fun tier 2 decks, I would include this. So I will share this. So I might, if I get the time, and it is very hard for me to justify the time at the minute, and I mean that with all the love of the world, because I've got a lot going on. If I get the time, I might. I've got the one from you that I want. The thing I want from you big time, although I may pull some of the others, is the guide to how to play that million deck. So, yeah, Mobilize is on its way. It wasn't fully removed. It's on its way out, but there's also, remember, there's room for working cards. But yeah, this was just me looking at what you can do with the whole shuffle. You'll note I'm not running. There's no rush. It's just be interesting to see if I could wrap my head around that deck because it's fun. But this deck just revolves around basically having fun. And is indeed, if anyone's wondering, named because I'm an X-Men. Yeah, pretty much. Like Shuffle is one of those mechanics that needs an expansion or two or a mini set or two to just add a few more. In my opinion, that's the big thing it's in need of. So we don't really want basically anything. Although dug-in's never terrible to keep in case we get aggro. Yeah, you need to sequence quite carefully. Which is, I think, what makes the deck interesting. I think there is... And you get... But what's interesting about it is it's a mechanic you could do a lot with. Okay. Not really much in danger for that particular card. Oh, it's all right. Okay. A spice. Back to that. Hold off. Oh, she'll do that. Although I find wisdom in not arguing with Starry over deck construction. She is a far, far better deck builder than I am. And indeed am ever likely to be. Route is a fairly not terrible card. Clearly. Answer. Kind of one of the worst matchups we hope for. Route, but in the current meta, Route is very powerful. Whether Route long term is truly amazing for a 4 of in a card, that depends on the support and whether it stays nerf free. But it is quite good. Oh, we are going to go for the full clear. That's I can kind of respect. The 6/6 and the capitulation, I would tend to argue slightly more over being particularly worthwhile. Like, capitulation is good, but it's an elite, so it's fine. The Fog of War combo, I don't know how good that deck is, but I'm not in the top 30 anymore. I don't know how played it is, but I don't know how good Handlock in comparison to how much Handlock is a deck that feels like it's good because not many people are playing it yet. I've no issue. I don't think that capitulation is actually, as an elite, a problem. Legitimately, there's no irony in that statement. I truly not. It is not an uncounterable card, and it's one card in 39. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a really powerful board clear, and we've got plenty of those. And twice this week, I have won the game because my opponent played Capitulation, presumably on the assumption that somehow it's all powerful and can't lose, into a deck that has T30, whatever, the old. But the Type 93, rather. I twice this played into someone who capitulated like a lunatic and then lost when I was able to Type 93, a massive front line of 1/1s. The capitulation itself doesn't win games. As long as you have a body, if you've got a way to buff it. If you're looking for really strong German decks, I consider this to be probably the best German deck in the game. Now, I'm not claiming total expertise, but I would consider this to be probably one of, if the I can see the 1-2-3s being more effective. I don't know the name. Quite sure from where. Rainbow's kind of okay. Need to see it. Honestly, we're shipping everything but Shibata. This is the deck that I would be playing if I were climbing ladder. So this is Japan naval burn. You will hopefully see fairly efficiently in the near future what it actually okay. I'll just drop the FW. Could suppress, but we don't need to. This is basically a control burn deck. So early on in the game, you're playing for tempo and control. You just want to slow your opponent down. So this is going to be a classic example of the route question. This is totally fine trade for me. And our opponent has very little in hand. That's not a problem, because that's slightly more of a problem, but that helps. Press this so that it stops doing the 1-2-3s thing. Push that forward. Press this for draw. We are starting to really need draw. Wouldn't normally want to do that, but we're going to struggle because we're not going to be in a position where Enigma's going to work, because apparently we're playing against an opponent who doesn't value draw. Always interesting. Cool. This is 2 RNG for me to be happy. Doesn't have Blitz. This. Really, really, really gonna struggle. So this is High Roll City. Oh! Okay. Did not see that coming. It's a name I'm not unfamiliar with. Goodbye. But basically, that's how this deck works. We'll run a couple more on it so that people can say it. I should probably do... Anyone done a video on this deck yet? J-King probably will, but if he doesn't, I probably forget the time. Right, someone asked for the deck code for this, so let me just grab it. That's... seems legit. Yeah, so this is the whole thing about this deck is it's a very short list because we are all about everything is about. I still wouldn't. It's been necessary to me too often for me to replace it. If I really was pressed to replace it with something, blimey, Comet, just for the extra ping, maybe as a finisher. Even though we don't often need it. But we're already running full sets of most of our good clear tools. Got any thoughts? There are other ways to do it, but I'm not sure that I would ever want to. I don't think I ever, although I don't think I've ever lost a game because Enigma's in there, but maybe Comet. If you just want the one extra card that can do a bit of extra rapid damage. Although if you're doing that, you probably want to cut one copy of something else and get a shifting attack in there, because then you can turn Comet into a much, much more efficient piece of damage. So we don't want to see two copies of Marine Division. I was happy to see one. Because have to say, though, I think safe to say that we're just going to pitch to get delay. We are going second, so we want Arado, although if this is Commandos, it's not going to help us. But what is going to help us is Shibata. So Shibata Regiment going to give Commandos a long day. Kurumi is also really good into Commandos because they risk ending their own turn, which we definitely do. Obviously, Suppression, once there's a Commando on the board, is good. Arado is not going. but we can still make use of it. We're actually going to push Kurume because there's nothing that's going to directly attack our HQ and 3 damage to face. This deck, weirdly, quite often will want to push up units you wouldn't normally push up. Okay, so now we can demonstrate some of how Arado can be, because... Okay, no, we can't, but that's fine. So we'll suppress this guy. Deal 3 damage to face and push up. Next turn we can start to do the actual sequencing. Basically, you're attempting to delay until you can get Marines on the board and have at least 1 Makura in hand, because Makura will tutor itself from your deck. Which means every Marine that you have on is 3 guaranteed damage for each Makura you play. Usually the first one will do 3 damage, then on the second turn you'll do 6 for 9, so on and so forth. Which we shall hopefully demonstrate momentarily. I'll pin this one because we don't suppress it. So that's 3 damage. Next turn it would be 6. Get the second Marine division down and play the second Makura, which is popping can back into our hand. So our opponent's going to look for a bomber to try and remove this. Don't necessarily see that many people running Bomber Mafia in Commandos. It does happen, but I've not seen it as much as I have done. One of the things we like about Commandos is that it often feeds Enigma, because it has a tendency to draw insanely. This is kind of all but over, unless our opponent finds removal. Because 1 point of ping won't cut it. There's the suppression. Now, we want the other naval card, but we don't get it. However, move the commando. We're not worried about the extra point of HQ damage. We don't care. Yeah, this is a very, I don't know, adaptive commando list for no apparent reason. Not nearly all in enough to be good. In my opinion, you need the gamble. The Banshee will come down. That's great, but you have Commando Raid, I guess, is the most likely thing we'll see. No, okay. That's legit. So what we do... Drop the FW and push. What we want our opponent to do is draw to try and find their win con. That's the thing we really want them. That's not the draw we want, but we'll take it. Enigma's only going to draw us 1 card here, but it could be critical, so we allow it. Second Enigma now becomes much more valuable. Here we go. Right. Commando down. Play some more 4. You know you want to. That's it. Keep drawing. Unless you manage to actually burn me down, this is not the wisest thing you've ever done in your life. Right. I'm going to drop this. I'm going to pin this so that we get maximum value here. Gurumi's great because it gives the commando pings a chance to brick themselves, because we are close to holding the win in hand. we have had very, very poor draw, which has not helped. Come on, hit the Kurumi. That's okay. That's problematic. Nope, it's not. Right. So, 4. You could have pinned it earlier. You're not wrong. Absolutely an option. But we still pick up the W. I think this is one of the better German lists in the game. Very consistent. Does take concentration to play well. It is very, very easy to pick up this list, go into a game, and just lose hard. Which is the one thing I would caution in playing a number of these types of lists, is that it can be absolutely frustrating as you like to have what you know is a good list and not be able to get the reps in. But it's good fun. I think it's a decent list. I would not be at all surprised to see a number of the best players on similar lists. Note, my list is a ladder list, not a tournament list. It has basically no tournament tech in it at all. It's just designed to consistently do one thing. I think when I was still record keeping, that was somewhere in the early 70s for win rate form. Possibly, maybe even mid to late 70s, percentage wise. Because it's just a deck that if you know how to play it will. Oh look, commandos, but from a different angle, probably. So we don't want guards mechanized. Don't want the 93. We'll keep one sickle. Because always keep a sickle. See if this is just commandos. Oh no, it's not. So this is Brit Germany control, which is a slightly more interesting matchup, honestly. Now we have played ourselves into trouble if they have Monty, but odds aren't great. Would have, meanwhile. They want to pay 2 credits to remove one unit. Pay with that. I think yeah, I think drop the SU. No, I think we take the high roll. This hits Cromwell, it doesn't. It's a bit sad, but hey, so 5. Right, Germany control, playing Crossfire, that never happens. It's not a thing, it's a myth. Terrible card. That's helpful. That's helpful. Need a bit of a refill. That's, say, legitimately baffling choice of use of Sherwood Foresters. Yes, it does happen occasionally, apparently. I'm not inclined to rush at this. Okay, another Cromwell. Oh, confused. That. Do that. 90. Oh, no. This is the strangest experience I have had in a very long time. I am... We appear to be just printing infinite Sherwood Foresters. We appear to be. What's interesting to me is where's the win condition? We know we're doing this. We know we're probably doing this. Because we could do with... There's Rush. So if we do... We sacrifice this, go for the high roll. Can we high roll enough relevant? I don't think we can. I mean, possible. I suppose it constitutes a win condition, kind of. I mean, they will win the fatigue battle. If they can take it to fatigue, because their deck becomes effectively infinite. But if the sequence breaks just once, that's the thing. If the sequence breaks, so we've got Panzerzug, Double Prey. I'm gonna run both SUs. At 8k, it will probably see more play than is healthy. Is the only downside. Right. Okay. Now you're gonna start route for the value in Zug is late game wins. Like the two things that it spawns are incredible value, and Zug itself late in the game can be literally game winning. Break the Sherwood sequence. We have to. Yeah, 8k would let you It's clunky at 9 because it does not let you get proper Panzergren use. So obviously it's spawning. So ideally, you want to be able to spend 4 credits to both move and attack with the Panzergrens. We lose this. However, this does illustrate how Zug can win games. This is just a massive delaying tactic. It's at 25 cards. 24, sorry. At the end of the game, and we have 9. It is, however, piloted by a colossal... which is honestly not that surprising. Legitimately, I'm not sure. Given how frustrating the deck is to play against, it does not surprise me at all that it would be piloted by someone with issues. That was a truly... That's my first name, thank you. But yeah, basically. An abbreviated me. And yeah, the card is clunky. Panzer Zug has always been just a little clunky. It's Germany, so we're probably about to get route played on us repeatedly, or see War Machine. But most commonly, we see naval doom. Not aggro is not a great match. Burn. Too easy to delay it. Now it's ramp, fair enough. There's the route. Okay. Note, by the way, that body is still 2 damage. That body is not nothing. That body is something on the board. Yep. There's a win. And being on the board matters. Is one of the reasons that capitulation can get you killed. Right, I think that's going to be me. I'm going to go and... I will raid Dank live, and no one else appears to be. I'll be back. Don't know when, but I will. Certainly I'll be back, I would imagine, Saturday to play some random decks and chat about the tournament, assuming that it is broadcast on Saturday and Sunday, which I assume it will be. So you might see me stream both Saturday and Sunday, depending on how the tournament goes and what the weather's like here. As ever, thank you all very much. If you can, please do. It is not a requirement. I do not paywall anything on my content, but I am a disabled content creator and designer going through an incredibly tough patch in my life at the moment, so every little really does help. I will look forward to seeing you all next time I stream, and grab on board the Discord. Thank you all kindly, and be nice to Dank. He is a lovely human.